sanding beams. So these ones, it's just aluminium sort of rectangular hollow tubing. Oop, there we go.
Yeah.
Just from Bunnings, I think I bought a metre length and I cut, which way am I going? That way. So I've got sort of to that length, and then I had the leftover bit. And you can see how used they are with lots of different grits of sandpaper and, all those kind of things. So that's probably the most budget tool that I've got.
These socket wrenches.
Yep.
So I bought a cheap box of long ones, and they're great because they just fit over pegs, so that I can fit it over my tuning peg and adjust to take off the nut or the bushings. I've got a larger one which fits over a volume pot, so I can tighten and untighten there. And I can't remember how much the set was. It wasn't that expensive at all. And I just hold them like this now. I can do it by hand tight enough. Don't need the wrench or anything. And I've just got them lined up above where I set everything up. I use them like they're one of my most regularly used things, I think, when a guitar comes in for a setup. Just
the center finding ruler. And I know there's going to be cheap brands of. You got one there, yeah. I know there's going to be. I know there's going to be cheap brands around, but probably when I was doing a StewMac order, and it's not going to break the bank to buy this one anyway. I think I use this. I don't know, probably more than anything else for the center finding, just for the measurements. It's what, 15 centimeters, or what's that, 6 inches or so. I find it's just a good size that you're not putting a big long ruler on something to measure. But yeah, that center finding feature, I think I'd be lost without it. I'd be like making a lot of calculating errors without having that.
I have to agree. That's why I've got this one, which is really cheap, but I only got this it was within this year, and it's changed what I do so much. It's brilliant.
Yeah. In the Aldi supermarket, all of the cheap tool stuff is branded as WorkZone. So this is basically a set of small files. So they're not, the quality is sort of pretty cheap. But they're pretty fine, and they're not super sharp. But for the jobs that I use them for, that works really well. So, the triangular file for opening up the fret slots before putting it in, this one works brilliantly because it's not going to take out, too much wood. You kind of have to do, work at it a little bit. So it's not a budget as in there's a cheap version, but it's something that's not too expensive, and that's the old bench cookies, or they're called different things in different countries, just with the labeling. And I, use these all of the time. I think when I sort of first started routing out cavities on bodies, I'd be clamping the guitar to a bench, or double-sided tape, or, masking tape and super glue to get that down. But honestly, 4 of these, and the instructions say that you can do this, but you don't sort of trust it. But to have 4 of those under a guitar body, in the right spot, it's as sturdy as anything, even with a big router to route out neck pockets, cavities, pickups, any of those kind of things. So I kind of find they save a ton of time just trying to clamp something down. You can even like doing roundovers on the edge, as long as you don't sort of tip it too much. You can sort of, I've used it for that as well. So just for work holding, same with using an orbital sander on the body. You put the guitar on that, and they just doesn't move at all. So
it's a center finding drill bit. I think hinge bits. And this was a cheap one. I got it in a set, and I keep thinking when it finally breaks, I'll buy a decent one just in this size. But I find when I'm laying out particularly scratch plates on a guitar, I can put that down, then put this into the hole that's already counted in the drill in the scratch plate, and then when you press it, the drill bit comes out.
Okay.
So it's just perfect for do one, screw it in, and then work my way round. And my screws are always perfectly in the center of the hole of the scratch plate that's already there,
Yeah.
and my screws don't go in slightly wonky.
Digital calipers, so same kind of thing. This is only, I know you can probably buy fancy, expensive ones, but this was the first set I bought when I sort of got into all this, 6-7 years ago, probably. And yeah, gets used more than anything else. Yeah, measuring. So I think I probably don't need to say too much about this. If you haven't got a set of calipers and you want to get into guitar booting, or you're just starting, you will save yourself a whole lot of misery by getting these. And really, going between those two, whatever's the most convenient to use. Obviously using this to find a center as well is good.
I've had this for ages. I don't think it's that cheap. It's a drill bit guide.
Yep.
But I've also got this really cheap circular stencil. Now, the problem with the stencil is it's got numbers on it, but they're not actually perfectly correct if you compare it to this. But it doesn't really matter, because the way I use it is I just normally use it to put a screw in. I often use random screws that I've got lying around. Put a screw in, and then I can work out which drill bit I need. But then with this one, I can just put the screw in, or the pot, or whatever it is that I'm measuring, and then put the drill in and check it matches. So I've often got this lying around to check, because I've noticed sometimes recently the pots I'm using don't match up to the drill bit that I was expecting to use.
Yep.
I guess I've been buying different makes or whatever.
It's usually not good to get cheap tools. If you're gonna get a tool, a lot of times getting the cheapest one is not going to be good.
Yeah, I've mentioned before that sometimes I buy a cheap tool to decide whether I want to use it before I buy an expensive one. But then what you notice is you think, oh, maybe I don't want to use this tool, but it's actually because it's so cheap that it's rubbish, not because it's the wrong tool. It's just because it's cheap. So it's hard.